that whenever, you know, what happened, when I tried to commit suicide, I felt like I was truly alone in this world. I said, you know what? And I explained this to Ben so many times, and it was a struggle for him. He's my partner, and I had to let him know, I feel this way where I think I will be happier if I wasn't on this world. And he explained to me, he goes, do you realize how many people need you in your life? And I couldn't. It's
hard to grasp.
I couldn't accept it. I said no. And it was just so much where I ended up trying to do it, and thank God I did it wrong.
Yeah.
Sadly, you know, to say it in such a like cynical way, I'm glad I did it wrong because I persevered through it.
You know, when I was talking to you about your you know, so Kat messaged me on Instagram, and I actually met her. How did I meet you? It was at a show, right?
Yeah. Well, it's a couple of shows.
Yeah, a couple of shows, and I met you, right? And it's weird how sometimes when you're going through a lot of dark things, you focus on everything that's wrong, and it's very easy to get sucked into that shit. And what I was telling her was when she you know, just to be frank and honest, and she's okay with this too, is that she attempted to kill herself. Like, it wasn't like some foolhardy attempt. She actually tried to kill herself, and it didn't work out, you know. And from my perspective, from what you were telling me that you were going through, and for somebody who admires you, right? You're a fan, but you're somebody that I admire as well. It's very easy to look at your cup half empty. Remember, I told you that, right? But if I told you what I saw from the outside, it was something that you were doing that was so admirable. But when you're in this dark space, it's so hard to be your own beacon of light.
Yeah, and you know what? What was really messed up about it was when I went to a couple of people that I'm close with, I told them that I was going through this depression. And you know what they said to me? They said, what do you have to be depressed about? Yeesh. You have a house, you have dogs, you have a man that you don't have to worry about cheating on you because they know our relationship. They're like, you have money, you have a career. And I go, well, thanks. I actually, it opened up my eyes to know who the fuck my real friends are, because they literally asked me that, what do you have to be sad about?
Yeah, and that's such a terrible way to look at it, because I feel like sometimes people, they diminish what somebody's going through at the moment. Everybody has these moments where they feel defeated, right? And I think like having that strong support group was great. When you came to me, I didn't know what to say, actually. Yeah. I didn't know what to say. The only thing that I could do at the moment was to tell you, like, how I see your cup is full. You know, and I didn't want to tell you to like you're ungrateful. That wasn't the message I was giving you. You know, what I wanted to say was like, take a step back and look at how great you're doing. Like you fought cancer twice. That was an opportunity that most people would kill for, you know? And the fact that you survived that shit, and then on top of that, from your cancer, I mean, I know this is like maybe me trying to make a positive spin on things, but you found your passion because of this cancer.
Yeah.
Imagine that shit.
Yeah.
You didn't go through this shit, you would be still working at a hospital right now till this day.
And it's so funny you bring that up, because my fiance's friend, Jessica, that was his coworker, before I end up going, because I told you I'm such a hard worker and I'm always trying to work. Yeah. Before I end up going to chemo, I actually posted on my Facebook, Instagram, like, hey, anyone want to place any orders? I'm going in for chemo on Saturday. Place your orders now. Yeah. And she was like, Ben, what the fuck is wrong with her? Like, this bitch is strong. Like, why is she trying to work?
But that's the thing, though. You know, like I said, like it's for me, in your perspective, if you could think about it, your cup is really full. Yeah. You know, like I'm not telling you that in the sense of like, oh, look at her, she's not grateful for what she has. I'm saying that if you take a step back from your situation, and mind you, you have been through a lot. Your father was in prison for 12 years of your life. You didn't have that strong father figure. Yeah. You went through fucking chemotherapy twice after you already beat cancer. Yeah. But how I see it is, it's like this woman who has been through all this shit, she's already coming out on top. A lot of people don't have that, you know? And I think like for you, it's very easy to go into that dark space. And I'll be real with you, like I don't know if I'd be any stronger than you are. I don't know that. I don't know. It's very easy to get into that dark space, you know?
It is, and especially for me when I actually do everything alone. Like with my work, I'm home alone. I answer inquiries alone. I do bookings. Everything about my life is home based all the time alone. And when Ben comes home, it's like 2-3 hours, and then we're back at it the next day, you know? So I think at the time, there were a lot of outlets where we came up with solutions. That's another thing, is that he said, you know what? I think that what you're lacking is a human interaction.
Yeah.
Because he was like, you know, you do see your customers, you know, every day. You see your customers, but he was like, babe, you don't have, you know, human interaction anymore. And he's like, the happiest I ever saw you was when you were working at the hospital.
Yeah.
And I actually worked at the cancer floor of the hospital too. So it was great for me because I could relate to them, and I did really great on that floor. But I have to agree that I think that it was the years adding up to being alone all the time, and then still struggling with, and it's, even though it's a little personal, it doesn't matter. I went with like 4 years after the whole cancer thing, not having a normal menstrual cycle.
Yeah.
So it was like, what is my body doing this? Why am I doing this? Am I going to, like, there's all these questions are going through my head every day, still to this day. Am I going to get struck with cancer again? You know, am I going to be able to have a kid? Am I going to ever become a mother? Am I going to do this? Do I even love baking? You know, do I just love baking for the satisfaction of making people happy? Because it doesn't bring me much joy anymore. But I love making people my goal. Like my thing is, I love to make people happy. I loved taking care of people. And I feel like sometimes I put myself on that back burner because I was always taking care of everyone else.
You know, that's the hard part, right? Like, I think I really appreciate people who live a life of servitude. And I think like Christianity has a lot of that shit into it. You know, Catholicism, Christianity, the Protestant religion, where you live for others versus yourself.
Oh,
but there's a downside to that, because when you start living for others instead of yourself, there's moments when you are by yourself and you're not getting that reciprocated appreciation. You feel really alone.
Yeah.
And it's hard, right? Even with your friendships, right? You're like, oh shit. I didn't think that these people had my back like I thought they did.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you would be surprised. Like I said, I lost two of my closest, like I said, I started friendships here after I moved here from Hurricane Katrina, but all the friends that I got here right when I moved to California, they've stayed my friends. So 10 plus years, all of my closest friends, under 10 people, have stayed my friends. But I lost two of my great friends because of it, because I said, when I explained to them what was going on, I actually told them that I tried to commit suicide.
Yeah.
And they that's what they said to me was, why? They said, you're stupid. You have everything. We don't think that you have any reason to do that. And I go, you know what? I understand, but at the time,
I just need to reach out to you. I need you to be supportive.
Yeah,
of me.
and that's what I did for you. Is that I felt like, because I've been, and I try to tell people, I'm like, I've been watching someone who I look up to and that has given great advice. I wanted to get advice, and I was like, but at the same time, I also had another friend who told me, I can't give you advice because I had never been through this. And I understood her. I said, if you haven't been through it, then I can't expect advice. And there's a lot of people who it's great. It's actually a great thing that you don't have a good big circle of friends who are depressed. You know, it's a good thing to say. It's like, great. My friends aren't depressed, but it's harder, especially. But like I said, the person that definitely helped me through this was definitely been my family and a couple of my great friends, that it just brought us closer. And it's hard. It's still hard to talk about.
And, you know, I don't really know your friends that you lost, but you know, sometimes people just don't know how to give advice, and some people just don't know how to listen, because a lot of the times what happens is, and I'm guilty of this too, is that when we give advice, we put too much of ourselves into it, and we lack that empathy when somebody's hurting, right? Because what happens is when somebody talks down to somebody when they're going through something, they go, you have nothing to worry about, right? Look at what I'm going through, and I'm not complaining about that shit. So they put themselves in a position that you're in without being empathetic and without reaching out, you know? And what happens is that you minimize how somebody feels. Right?
Yeah.
Some people take that to the extreme where they're not really minimizing how they feel and they get exaggerated with their shit. But in times like this, I think that it's hard for people to understand when you need to listen and when you need to give advice.
Yeah.
Because listening is a lot of the times is what people just need. You can't solve other people's problems.
Sometimes, they don't want an answer back. They don't want an answer. They just want literally an ear to listen to, you know?
Just be there for me and support me, right? Yeah. Because even when you contact me, like, I don't know you on that close of a personal level. A lot of the stuff I'm just finding out right now, right? But in that moment, I'm just like, okay, for somebody to reach out to me who doesn't know me very well, she must be going through some real shit, right? And for me, I met you, and you're a very positive human being, and you're really great to be around. So I'm like, there must be something that she's really going through. And when you told me you actually tried to kill yourself, and I'm like, what is this girl going through right now that her perspective is flipped? Because how I see her is completely different from how she sees herself.